Canada's a mess. There's no easy way of saying this, but Canada is in a state of, essentially a state of emergency. We are being taxed to death. We're one of the highest tax countries in the entire world. And last time I checked, we're not sitting on a bunch of, gold. Like, we're not rich individuals. Like, the average Canadian doesn't own a Lamborghini, doesn't have millions of dollars sitting in the bank. So it begs the question, why are we being taxed so much? And that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. But more importantly, we're going to be taking a look at some premiers that are, I guess there could be an argument to make that they're issuing threats against the carbon tax, against Justin Trudeau's policies, and it's affecting Trudeau in the polls. Trudeau has a press conference in this video that we're going to take a look at where he's defending his climate change tax, his carbon tax, and there's just a lot of things to cover. So I really want to encourage everyone to stick around for the entire duration of the video if you absolutely can. And obviously, before we get into it, I want to encourage everybody to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. We are en route to 400,000 subscribers. Now, I made a challenge for one of my other channels called House of Canada. Once it reaches 100,000 subscribers, which we just did last night, thank you very much, everybody, I will be going to Ottawa to watch a live question period. I have a bit of another challenge. Once, hopefully this happens before we go to Ottawa, but once this channel here, Miss Sunshine Baby, reaches 400,000 subscribers, hopefully it can happen before I go to Ottawa, then I will do my best and contact my people to see if I can go and have a sit down with Justin Trudeau. So if you'd like to see that, let's really try and get this channel to 400,000 subscribers. Now, let's get into the story here. So we've got the polls are not looking very favorable for Trudeau across the board. You still have the Conservatives sitting on a projected 210 seats, and you have Liberals with 63 seats and odds of winning the most seats, 99 Conservative, 99% likelihood for a majority, with the Liberals almost being overtaken by the NDP. And this is something that is really, really big because it seems like Liberals are going from potentially the biggest party or having the most seats to they might be third or fourth down the list. The Bloc could overtake them. The NDP are just about to overtake them, and the Conservatives have wildly overtaken them, at least in the polls. So it's going to be a very exciting election this season, and everyone is very much anticipating that to happen. We're going to have to wait and see if Trudeau even sticks around until the election, because he's obviously come out quite recently and said that my job is so stressful that I'm thinking about quitting daily. Poor me, poor me. Well, screw Canadians over. I don't know why I'm talking in a baby voice. I've been watching too much baby programming. Anyways, let's get into the next piece here. You've got Premier Scott Moe of Saskatchewan that has something to say about the carbon tax. And this is, we're going to watch what he has to say, and then we're going to take a look at what Danielle Smith just said today.
Into just those innovations in the industries that we do well, because the fact of the matter is this, and this is from a Saskatchewan perspective, we produce food, fuel, and fertilizer, and we produce not only the highest quality, most affordable food, fuel, and fertilizer that you can find in the world, and we produce it for over 150 countries around the world. We produce the most sustainable food, fuel, and fertilizer that you can find on Earth. And I think that's something for each of us to remember is never say never. We can always do better, and we should be making every effort to do that around this table on behalf of the folks that we represent. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier Moe. Mr. Reddekopp, please, for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Premier Moe, it's great to have another common sense conservative voice in Ottawa, Saskatchewan voice, in Ottawa to talk about the carbon tax. It's very clear that the Liberals are nervous about this meeting and that they don't really want to hear from Saskatchewan people, but I do. So as you know, the Parliamentary Budget Officer has produced a report that confirms this year alone, the average family in Saskatchewan is going to lose $525 to the carbon tax. And the NDP Liberal Costly Coalition plans to quadruple the carbon tax, meaning that families in Saskatchewan will ultimately see their losses increasing to $1,723 a year, according to the same report. So the NDP Liberal Coalition will be ripping out thousands of dollars from the pockets of people in Saskatchewan. What's the impact of the carbon tax on families living in our province? Oh, you're muted, Mr.
My apologies. That's the annual impact directly to Saskatchewan families, taking into account, what they are paying for the carbon tax, some of the indirect costs that are coming to them due to the carbon tax, a cost, for example, at the grocery store. But what we have in this province as well is we're very much a natural resource-based economy here. rooted in agriculture, and we're trying to climb that economic value chain. We're trying to climb with respect to the jobs that we're creating, the opportunities, and the market access that we're creating. For example, we're attracting investment into the canola oil industry so that we can provide canola oil as opposed to the raw seed. That's climbing that.
I love this. You know what I love about Canada, about conservatives or people that just love this country, is people that love this country. Canada is a beautiful, beautiful place. We are filled with minerals, with resources, with gas, with farm fields. We have an incredible opportunity to thrive, and it's just a damn shame when you have incompetent liberals that are in power that are really, really gouging our farmers to the point where it's not even profitable. Like, why would they do their job? That's why you've seen farmers' protests go up everywhere, is because it just doesn't make any sense anymore. And even with our gas, you have other countries that are dying. There's a lineup of other countries that are dying to get our gas. They're saying, okay, Canada, turn your taps on. We will buy. We'll pay big money. We've got it right here. Check in hand. Let's go. Why aren't we using our own stuff? It's a damn shame. We need more people in positions of power in Canada that love this country as much as they should, as much as hopefully you do and hopefully I do. I mean, I absolutely love this country, but it's not looking that good. So that's why we really need to share these videos and get the word out so that people who are going to be voting can be aware that, yeah, there's actually people out there, politicians and parties that really want Canada to thrive. And, well, the next up is Danielle Smith, and she definitely wants Canada to thrive. She is very much against the carbon tax increase. Here we go.
We hear 4 premiers, including yourself, are testifying at a House of Commons committee this week on the carbon tax. Just tell us more about it. What's your plan? What are you hoping to chat about?
Well, look, I mean, when we look at the inflation crisis that we have, the affordability crisis that we have, and the fact that the constant layering on of federal taxes is adding to that, we have asked at a minimum that they just not increase the tax on April the 1st. When you think about a couple of things, number one, most provinces have a fuel tax to help pay for roads. We're no exception. Even the federal government has a fuel tax to help pay for roads. That's 10 cents. On top of that, they will have another 17 cents for a carbon tax. On top of that, they charge GST on all of that, which adds an extra 2 cents on top for additional GST of tax on tax. And people have had enough. People want to be able to see their cost of living go down. We're seeing that in some small measure. But the problem that we have with the approach that they're taking is that when they tax small businesses, they don't rebate to small businesses. So the small businesses have to work those prices into the cost of everything that they sell, which then it fuels the inflation issues, which then has the Bank of Canada saying inflation's not cooled off enough yet, so we can't reduce interest rates. And if you can't reduce interest rates now when people are going to get their mortgages renewed, it also impacts them there. The other part of the problem is the unfair treatment on the on home heating fuel. Keep in mind, in Alberta, we made the decision, I believe in Lougheed's day, to move away from higher emissions types of fuels to natural gas, which was the clean burning fuel at that time. And so it's part of the reason why us in Alberta and in Saskatchewan are so dependent on natural gas, is we made that early decision. And so instead, the federal government stepped in and they gave a reprieve for 3 years to Atlantic Canadians, and have done nothing to help reduce the burden on residents in the rest of the country. And keep in mind how bad this is. When that fuel tax on natural gas goes up on April the 1st, it'll be over $4 a gigajoule. Gas right now is selling at, I believe, $1.72 a gigajoule. So the tax is more than double what people are paying for the base price of fuel. And those are 2 of the big cases that we're going to make. It's just that the combination of the extra cost on home heating, the extra cost as well on transportation fuel, we just think that the federal government, at a bare minimum, should just not increase the tax.
Do you think with 4 premiers testifying, it'll be fruitful?
I hope so. I mean, I think it's, we all come from different perspectives. We've got, I believe myself and Scott Moe, people know where we're coming from on it. I believe Tim Houston and Blaine Higgs are the other 2. So to get the perspective of provinces in both the East and the West, I hope it does have some impact on the committee.
Let me tell you, man, I cannot pay more for groceries. I've already stretched myself and my family's finances very thin. This doesn't make any sense how you're paying, 25, 35, 45% more for groceries than you should be. And that's because you axe the farmer that makes the food, or sorry, not axe the farmer. You tax the farmer that makes the food. You tax the trucker that delivers the food, and all shit rolls downhill onto us, the consumers. And Justin Trudeau doesn't understand that. And you're going to see that in this next clip here, where he is really doubling down on this tax. It frustrates me. It frustrates everybody. Here we go.
Conservative premiers across this country are misleading Canadians, are not telling the truth. 8 out of 10 families across the country in federal backstop jurisdictions make more money with the Canada carbon rebate than it costs with the price on pollution. So not only are we fighting climate change and reducing emissions, but we're putting more money back in the pockets of families, particularly in low and middle income families across the country. It's basic math that the Parliamentary Budget Officer has confirmed time and time again. But for ideological reasons or reasons of pure partisanship, Conservative politicians across this country are not telling the truth to Canadians. And that's why I called them out. And I'm going to continue to call them out and remind them that if they really don't like our approach to pricing pollution, they can develop their own approach. Here in BC, that's what a BC more conservative government did years ago in creating Canada's first price on pollution.
Look at Freeland's face.
Quebec did the same.
These people have lost their mind. These people have lost their mind. So I took matters into my own hands quite recently. And I went to my community tab and I made a poll. And you have thousands of people that voted. You have 22,000 votes. Have you ever received a Canadian carbon rebate check? Justin Trudeau says 8 out of 10 Canadians, yes, receive more money than they put into it. Well, when you look at this poll with 22,000 votes, now, look, I get already where people are going to come from, but Mr. Sunshine, it's a biased poll. Well, yeah, I don't have a control over who the audience is other than Canadians, taxpayers, people that are living and breathing in this country. So any arguments that are to say, well, it's biased, there might be political bias for the viewers on this channel, but you don't get a carbon tax rebate check or not receive a carbon tax rebate check based off of your political views. It doesn't make any sense. So this poll is extremely accurate, one would have to assume, for just receiving a Canadian carbon tax rebate check. And 8 out of 10 Canadians have not received it. When is the last time you have seen a government poll, a federally funded actual poll with 22,000 people that have been surveyed? You never see that. You always see poll size 1,300, 800, 2,000. The government doesn't even have the balls to go and ask 22,000 people. That's a small town, for crying out loud. All right. So great job, everybody who participated, but it's absolutely gaslighting and lies that the government is sharing. Right? 8 out of 10 Canadians. Look, if they have evidence to prove that, sure. But you have 8 out of 10 Canadians out of 22,000 people here that have said otherwise. So then you scroll down. It looks like it's the other way around. 8 out of 10 Canadians don't receive the rebate checks. I've never received a dime. Unfortunately, I work and contribute to society. I'm single-handedly destroying the environment by driving myself and to and from work, according to Trudeau and the rest of the cronies. Therefore, no rebate for me. And feel free to go and find this poll and read through the comments yourself. I live in BC. I haven't gotten a federal or BC rebate. The carbon tax is a ripoff. And that seems to be the consensus. It doesn't matter if you say, 9 out of 10 Canadians, 10 out of 10 Canadians get the carbon tax rebate check on a federal platform. It doesn't matter because Canadians are actually saying, I'm not getting it. So by very clear definition, that seems to be a lie, Mr. Trudeau. It seems to be a lie, and it's just so freaking frustrating. And I'm not the only one frustrated. The viewers, I'm assuming, are frustrated. If you are, please let me know down in the comments if you've ever received one. Maybe, I don't think we're going to get 22,000 comments on this video, but at least we can get a little bit of a story of, yes, I got the rebate check. No, I haven't. Just let me know down below. And everybody's pissed. Everybody's pissed. The only people that are fighting it are Conservatives, federally and provincially, right? You have premiers like we saw earlier in this video. So now you got Pierre Poilievre that is calling, well, this is from when he called a carbon tax election, but let's just take a look at this debate here.
Testify that the majority of households will pay more in carbon taxes than they will get back in rebates. There is a table showing that every single province in which this tax applies, the middle-class families pay vastly more than they get back, and Canadians know it, because under this Prime Minister, they've seen their food, their fuel, their homes, their heating go through the roof. But why don't we just end the debate and let Canadians decide and have a carbon tax election?
The Parliamentary Budget Officer clearly spelled out that 8 out of 10 Canadian families in areas where the price on pollution applies get more money back every year than they pay on the price on pollution. That's because we created a plan that not only is one of the strongest plans to fight climate change in the world, but it puts more money back in the pockets of middle-class Canadians as we build a stronger future, better careers, more competitiveness, and a safer environment for generations to come. That's the plan we have. That's not what they're doing.
The $60 million Arrive scam is just the tip of the iceberg. We now learn that there are $5 million in additional fraud that has been identified by the Department of Public Procurement. And this is out of the $21 billion the Prime Minister is now spending on outside consultants, a 100% increase, and fully with the support of the NDP. Can the Prime Minister tell us how much of this $21 billion is fraud?
The situation is obviously unacceptable, which is why authorities are looking into this procurement process. Anyone who took advantage of our COVID response to save Canadian lives should face consequence. All federal contracts with these companies have been suspended as the investigation continues. But everyone in this House noticed how quickly he pivoted from a question on Ukraine. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, his members are ashamed of him for forcing him to vote against Ukrainian Canadians, to vote against Ukraine, to vote against support that the Ukrainian president was asking for.
This is what Canadians are very angry with. It's not necessarily Canada running to help other countries. It's Canada running to pour all of our resources and attention into other countries when we are obviously having a crisis of our own, a massive affordability issue. The Liberals just, I don't know who is giving them advice. I don't know what yes men they are surrounded by. But Canadians are not happy, and the Liberals are going to lose power for the next 15, 20 years if they keep this up. And we might already be at that point of no return. And don't mistake what I'm saying as trying to encourage the Liberals to change things to better their own political likeness and popularity. No, I think that this is well-deserved. They've made their bed, and now they have to lay in it. That just it is what it is. But at the same time, Canadians, we need some help, man. We need some real help. And unfortunately, even if Pierre wins yesterday and he's new prime minister, it's going to take a little bit of time for the carbon tax to get reversed, right? Now, you have awesome premiers like Danielle Smith and Scott Moe that have stood up to the carbon tax, and some premiers just aren't even taking the money. They're saying, we don't care what the feds are saying. We're going to do our own thing. So we need a little bit more of that. And as the momentum increases towards the next election, the federal election, I think you're going to see more and more premiers, more and more municipalities stand up to the feds and just stop gouging people, because it's not just something that people are saying, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. Every single person, no matter how rich or how poor you are, every single person is feeling financial struggle in one way or another. It's a fact. Everything in Canada has gone up. The goods, the services, everything. So that's where we're going to end today's video, folks. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about any of the topics that are covered, please let me know down below, as well as a gentle reminder to smash the like button on your way out and to subscribe if you haven't yet already. Once we get to 400,000 subscribers, hopefully it happens before I go to Ottawa to watch Question Period, I will actually put in considerable effort to go and meet Justin Trudeau and have a sit down with him and make a video out of it. So thanks for watching, folks, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.